Hello, I am Mario 8th and welcome to Super Mario Bros. In Review, the show where I will be reviewing all 18 Super Mario Bros. Platformers and ranking them to find the ultimate Super Mario Bros. Game. You can find all the previous and future videos in the playlist linked in the description, but first, this week we will be visiting Super Mario Land for the Nintendo Game Boy. Land was originally released in Japan and the US in 1989, with the release only separated by a few months. It was the first Mario game to not be directed by Mario's dad, Miyamoto. Well, second if you include Mario 2 USA. Instead being directed by Satoru Okada and produced by Gunpei Yokoi. And it came out to very good reception. At the time, people loved the condensed Mario experience on this newfangled handheld device. So much so that it sold over 18 million copies, even more than Mario 3 managed. This was the first time I'd ever played Super Mario Land, and well, it was still Mario. I didn't know much about it going in. I knew Daisy was in it, it took place in a desert, belt, leather belt, and this weird little alien guy was in it. But despite telling myself multiple times that I was going to buy it off the Nintendo 3DS eShop, ripped to a real one, it took until now for me to finally bite the bullet. Speaking of this weird little alien guy, his name is Tatanga and he's taken over Sarasa Land, brainwashed its inhabitants, and captured Princess Daisy as his bride. Hearing of her plight, it's up to Mario to run, jump, pilot a submarine, and fly a plane to save the day. He blows up Tatanga, rescues Daisy, and they both take off in a fighter jet. And this game is weird. The first thing I noticed was how the physics felt different. Mario runs and jumps like normal, but if he walks off a ledge, he falls like a brick. Where if he jumps off, there's much more aerial control and his descent is much slower. The hitboxes are a little wonky too. Landing on Koopas always felt like a gamble. And then the Koopa shell explodes. What the heck was that? In fact, a lot of the enemies are strange. I'm fighting jumping seahorses that shoot at me one level, Mogwai heads the next. And aside from the Mogwai heads in Odyssey, none of the enemies introduced in Mario Land ever made a return. Aside from the physics, the gameplay is very straightforward original Super Mario Bros. Mario runs to the right, can't go back, eats a mushroom to grow to Super Mario, grabs a flower to throw a bouncy ball, collects 100 coins to gain an extra life. There are 1-ups, but they're hearts this time around, not mushrooms. And at the end of each level, in lieu of a flagpole, there's a tower. Solving a platforming puzzle to get to the top allows Mario to play a life-getting minigame. Unless Mario's at his third level of each world, then he fights a unique boss, and after defeating them, finds Daisy. Well, a common enemy disguised as Daisy. Oh, Daisy! The second thing I noticed was suddenly I'm in a submarine and I'm playing a shooter. It's not a particularly great shooter, but for early Game Boy it wasn't bad. I just really wasn't expecting it, and it was a nice change of pace. The next shooter level has Mario in a plane, but the gameplay is the same. Then he fights the boss, Tatanga suddenly shows up right after, and then the game is over. I was honestly shocked when I realized there were only 12 levels in the game. 4 worlds of 3 levels each. I get it, it's on a Game Boy after all, but still. I beat it for the first time in less than an hour. It was so short I almost felt like I needed to play it again. And I did. It only took 30 minutes that time. The third thing I noticed was the off level design. I won't say each of the levels are bad, but they do feel like they're missing something. Thematically they're great, it's fun seeing the Mogwai statues or pyramids in the background, and the team made some really unique enemies to match the settings. But at a certain point in each level, I noticed the platform patterns were repeating. The same ledge with a block appeared like 3 times in a level, just with an enemy placed in a slightly different place. I'm guessing this was a limitation of the hardware back then, but it did feel unoriginal seeing the same stuff over and over. One plus I'll give them though, while some of the levels felt actually a bit long, the game is super forgiving with checkpoints. Much of that similar looking architecture is where Mario respawns, which both helps and hinders the repetition problem. The final thing I noticed was, aside from the very strange can-can riff that plays during the star power-up, all the music is really good. Hip Tanaka did a wonderful job, I especially liked the end credits theme. Super Mario Land is weird. It's a little easy, a little short, has very weird enemies, and the physics took a bit to get used to. But it's not bad, just different. And honestly, I'm glad I was finally able to experience it myself. But I don't think I'm gonna go back to it anytime soon. It's not a bad game, it's not especially cruel like the Lost Levels, but I don't see myself playing it before Mario USA. My new ranking for 2D Mario games is 5 Super Mario Bros. 2 The Lost Levels, 4 Super Mario Land, 3 Super Mario Bros. 2 USA, 2 Super Mario Bros. And 1 Super Mario Bros. 3. I've also never played Mario Land 2 and I'm very excited to see what improvements it made to the handheld line of games. But we have to wait a bit to get there because first I finally get to play the Super Nintendo classic, Super Mario World. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, maybe leave a rating or a sub to be notified of more. While you're down there, you can check the description for all of my socials where I'm at Mario8th everywhere. I'm on Twitter, Tumblr, and you can see what games I'm playing on ggApp.io. Also in the description is the playlist that every Mario in Review video will eventually be in. And if you'd like, let me know what your personal Mario ranking is in the comment section. Anyway, thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.